Hey, y'all, hey, welcome back. This is another episode of the Sacred and Profane podcast. Thank you so much for rocking with me, you guys. This is episode number 28. That is outstanding. I'm excited in case you can't tell. But really, what I'm super excited about is this conversation we're about to have right now. As usual, I'm in the middle of a conversation with Spirit, and Spirit's like, hey, you should go get them and bring them with you. I'm like, let's go. Let me go get my piece. What's wrong, y'all? Before we get started, let's throw these rooms out. But what I can tell you is we are absolutely going to be talking about divine masculine and feminine energy today. I keep promising this conversation. We're going to touch on it a little bit. It's too big for all of it to come out at once. We have five rooms, so we have Anzus, Dippo, Hagawaz, Issa, and Rado. Boom, let's get it. That's it right there. Listen, if you don't have a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a cup of water, whatever it is you're going to do, if you do other things, roll them up, fire it up, let's jump in. This is where I get to remind you this conversation in every episode of the Sacred and Profane podcast is specifically designed to trigger you into shadow work. Because of that, I have to insist that you are 18 years old or older to listen to this podcast. If you are not 18 yet, I'm so sorry. Come back when you are. Bye bye. All right. For the rest of us who grown, you gotta be emotionally mature for this particular conversation. I'm gonna trigger the hell out of you. Okay? Well, it's not me, but technically it is. So I've been on this journey for a while now, as a divine feminine to really express, like be fully self-expressed. And it's been a hell of a journey. I'm not gonna go into my childhood, my past traumas. Y'all already know all that. Y'all already know. Y'all already know. You know about that. Okay. But what I'm talking about now is like what happens after we take on being intentional on our journey, right? Because there was a time in my life where I was absolutely not awake. Yeah, I wasn't awake. And so kind of, you know how they say, my grandma used to say, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Let me tell you, I have lived it, especially in relationships, right? And so, Southern Pentecostal woman, of melanated woman, I was raised that woman, feminine, divinity looked a certain way, and I carried that with me. I carried that with me, and my soul wanted to buck against what I was being shown as a child, but still the programming was implanted and it ran deep, right? Where I am today is very, 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 very clear that once upon a time, women ran everything. I'm very clear. And I think now we have uh, anthropologists proving this. And I may have talked about it. That's what I say to the continuation of that conversation. You know, there was a time when we were a matriarchal society and then something happened. Now, I've been talking about this for a minute, but I feel like people are beginning, other intuitives are beginning to go, wait a minute, there was a destiny swap between men and women. Now, again, I've been saying this for years, but it's like at some point women gave up being in charge and men took over. Okay. Now, this is a whole ass problem. Not because there's something wrong with men, but because when that happened, it undid a balance that was cosmic, that was galactic. And so this great imbalance is something that impacts the entire cosmos, not just this planet. Okay. So this is a really big deal because an imbalance between masculine and feminine energies is an imbalance at a foundational level of the universe. Right? You guys can get what I'm pointing to when I say that, right? So it is a big deal. Yeah, I know sometimes we like to be like, it's not a big deal. No, no, this is a big deal. This one's a big deal. So part of what happened when this swap off occurred is the mysteries that lie in the feminine realm became villainized, demonized, gatekeep. You guys already know if you spend any time in my energy, I'm into mystery schools. I'm into bringing those ancient mysteries back, uh, and really exposing that there has been this intentional collapse of evil and darkness so that people don't pursue the wisdom that is held in the dark because they're scared of uh, linking up with evil, right? And I'm passionate about this because I know, as well as you do if you open your eyes, that evil is flourishing in broad daylight. It's not just, oh, the evil people, evil happens at night. No, evil happens throughout the day, all day long, all over the world. So, but we've been brainwashed. People have been really brainwashed into, oh, if we just, if we don't go out at night, if we don't do these things that are associated with darkness, then we're safe from evil. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. So, in the original matriarchal templates, you have the maiden, mother, and crone. And I love that the original template for goddess, or for the feminine expression of Godhead, of source, is a trinity, just like the masculine expression, right? Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Well, it's maiden, mother, crone over here, right? And what I really appreciate as a woman who is not in her maiden season, is not in her mother season. I am in my crone season. But because of choices I made, I'm still a mother. And because of my spiritual inheritance, I look like a maiden. So I was literally created and designed by my ancestors and by the goddess herself to become this bridge, right, of ancient mysteries and knowledge. And here's what I can tell you. The crone absolutely is designed to protect the mother and the maiden. But when women gave up, like when this destiny swap happened between men and women, the one of the lies that came out, the illusion is that men are to protect women. Well, I'm not trying to be funny, just trying to be honest. Show me a man that protects a woman beyond his own interests. When you show me that man, I will say, wow, you found the divine masculine. Great work. Plain and simple. And that's the whole message right there. That plain and simple. There isn't really anything else to say. The crone energy is the original protector of feminine energy. The crone. Woman is meant to be wild unto herself. Yo, I just found this necklace. Oh my gosh, you guys, I was on vacation. I ran over to Kentucky a few weeks ago and I found this cute little shop when I was in Kentucky. And it had this string of pearls and, it's like a nameplate, but instead of a name, it said Feral. Oh my God. I was like, I'm going to want that when I leave. And that's kind of my rule. If I see something I love and I feel like I'm going to miss it, I try to buy it. I walked out without it. And now I keep thinking about, man, I want that string of pearls that says Feral. Because it just speaks to me. Like you guys know, I'm fanatical about wearing my pearls, but you also know I have that primal, fierce energy, like that feral energy. That's crone energy, the mystery. It can't be tamed. And the patriarchy would love to have it ignored, right? That's why the patriarchy collapsed darkness with evil. That's why the patriarchy separated the triple goddess into singular goddesses. That's why the patriarchy plays up the maiden goddesses and downplays and villainizes and demonizes the crone goddesses. That's why the patriarchy says, oh, well, if you are over the age of 40, you're not attractive anymore. That's why it's 2025 and we're just now getting into actual women's health. We're just now talking about menopause in 2025, but I don't know, women been going through menopause for how long? How long women been going through? What you say? Huh? Yeah, but we finally talking about it right now. This is why, because so much power of the feminine is found in this crone season, is found in this crone energy, and we see it in women time after time. If you're a woman listening, you understand when you were in your maiden season, you were easily fooled. When you were in your mother season, you were easily distracted. Once you hit your crone season, baby, can't nobody touch you. But throughout the seasons, no matter where you find yourself, you have something that the masculine energy does not have, and that's direct connection to source. So the masculine energy can still subvert your direct connection to source in your mating years. The masculine energy can distract you from your direct connection to source and make itself your false god during your mother years. But baby, when you hit them crone years, let me tell you, let me tell you. And so the patriarchy has made the crone really, really, really unattractive. As you see women who are in their crone season trying really hard to stay mother and maiden. Why? Be a crone. Be a crone. I'm a crone. I already told y'all I look like a maiden, but I'm a crone. It's in my energy. Men and women are intimidated by me. They don't understand. I look young. I have a vital, vibrant energy, but my aura definitely says, don't try me. I know better. I've seen this before. That's that crone energy. And so it's really like a remembering that when we say you're created perfect, whole, and complete, you really, really are. When we say, okay, look, the patriarchy is killing everybody, it's really, really true. When I say this is about a balance, it's not about, oh, take it back from men. It's about a balance. I really, really mean that. I believe if there had been a balance before, the Destiny Swap wouldn't have happened. And here's what I mean by that. I'm not saying that women are responsible for it. I'm saying that something happened. I'm just looking at my own life as a woman, my relationships with men. Something happened and women saw something and overlooked it. And instead of calling it out, it festered until man became so bitter that man sought to overthrow woman and take her position. Well, man succeeded. For whatever reason, we kept overlooking. We still be overlooking shit. Let's tell the truth. That's how it's easier for me to know what happened because we still doing the same shit. They always look and say, well, they were wounded as a child. They have mother issues, but they really love me. The fuck they do. Listen, an unhealed man don't love anybody. He can't. And I'm not saying that there are no divine masculines. We already went through that. There are divine masculines. There absolutely are divine masculines. The point is, you won't know the difference if you're not in crone energy, which is challenging because yeah, the world doesn't want you in crone energy. You see the loop now? Because then you'd be able to tell who's a divine masculine or not. You see how that works? You see what they did there? So as long as you don't know who a divine masculine is, as long as you can't tell, you'll stay in maiden energy, which is essentially pick me energy, right? Or you'll stay in mother energy, which is overwhelmed and giving more than you're receiving, which narcissists love that shit, right? In other words, until you activate your crone essence, regardless of what age you are, okay, you are prey for a system that is designed to siphon your source connection from you, pervert it. And instead of creating something that will benefit humanity, like from the heart of the Divine Mother, these energies, these entities will use your divine essence to create something that will further enslave and entrap your fellow humans. Now, this is the play, this is the plan, this is what has been happening, this is what we've been watching play out. And if I mean, if you can't see what I see, I don't know where. Maybe we live in different places. I don't know where you at, but where I'm at, where I live at. So, over here, I have always been a huge proponent of women getting responsible, women standing up, and women taking their power back. I'm going to tell you, it makes me extremely unpopular amongst women. Mostly maidens and mothers want nothing to do with me, but crones love me, and it's funny because I don't look like a crone. Okay, let's chop it up with the divine masculine for a moment because it really takes, like, I'm not going to lie, only a divine masculine can see a divine feminine. I'm telling you, because the divine feminine has the crone energy also activated in her aura, an unhealed man will not recognize the divine feminine as the divine feminine because all he will see is her crone energy. What does crone energy look like? Well, you already know. Crone energy looks like wisdom. It looks like something is in the fall or winter. Things around a crone. You guys know the TV shows, so there might be lots of spiders around a crone. There might be. You guys, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Crone energy calls in spiders. I'm not kidding. Okay, and those spiders are protective, by the way. Um, an unhealed man looking at a woman that's a divine feminine, who's also, who has this crone essence activated, might see her as boring, might see her as old fashioned, might see her as a prude, okay? Might see her as not understanding uh, how things work, okay? Like he might all, like an unhealed man might feel like a divine feminine is out of touch with how things work because she's got this crone energy activated, okay? So if you are a divine masculine, you have this really cool advantage, right? Like you can see what other men can't see. And that's perfect because the divine feminine is only to be with the divine masculine. I can tell you from experience that when a divine feminine is with an unhealed man, um, someone who's not tapped into their divinity, uh, uh, her gifts will kind of be dormant. Um, they'll be there for her, but not to the fullest extent. They will not be fully active. Okay. For the divine feminine, her gifts will be fully active and realized either when she's on her own in her sovereign power. Okay. That's actually how I think it is designed to be is the gifts activate when the divine feminine is in her sovereign power. And then when those gifts are activated, she is visible to the divine masculine. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And there's something about this for the unhealed man because I'm picking up, even though he can't necessarily see the divine feminine as a divine feminine, there's something about this allure. It's almost like the unhealed man can't see the truth, but he can sense it. He can sense it. Okay, so this is a situation where yeah, yeah, like so an unhealed man might see a divine feminine as someone that he would marry but not date, right? And so, depending on what his wounds are like, an unhealed man might approach a divine feminine and say, "Hey, I like you. Let's be together," and then set up house with her because um, she has this maid mother crone energy. Like it feels like she has her shit together, basically, right? But because he can't see that because he's not healed, he's still gonna run out. He's gonna install divine feminine in a house, right? This is my wife, but he's gonna run out and chase maidens and mothers until the cows come home because he can't see that he's already got all three. Does that make sense? He can't see that he has all three. It's not there for him. He can't see it. And there's something about that. I have this meme I found. Let me see if I can I actually put this as a background on my phone because it is so true and so real. Oh, y'all, I don't have it right here. But it says something like, they didn't overlook you, they weren't qualified to see you, or something like that. Like, so it's along the lines of rejection is God's protection, but like an unhealed masculine isn't qualified to see a divine feminine energy. Okay, the best example of this, my personal favorite example of this, y'all. I'm gonna watch Beauty and the Beast today. Beauty and the Beast, the cartoon, the Disney one. Remember when the beautiful enchantress comes to the Beast castle? He's got a little party going on. They turning up and shit, and then she knocks on the door like, "Oh my God, it's so cold out here. Can you help me?" Right? Because she knew they was in there turning up. She's an enchantress. And the prince was like, "Oh my God, you're an old hag. Like I don't even want my guests to see you." Like he didn't offer her a cup of cocoa, come out the storm or nothing. He's just like, "Nah, bitch, you look too rough to be up in here." And then she said, "Oh, really?" And then she threw off her illusion, and turns out she's a beautiful enchantress, stunning enchantress. And then she puts a curse on his ass. Right? Like you're so nasty on the inside. And what she cursed him with is that his outside matched his inside, right? that his outside matched his inside. And when she did that, he was very clear. The beast was very clear. Don't nobody want to be around me. See, as long as his outside looked different from his inside, he could lie to himself and throw these big parties and have all these fake friends around because people couldn't see who he really was. But the moment that enchantress was like, okay, bet, why don't you be who you really are then? Why don't you look like how you act inside? That's when shit got real. But she did him a solid. Look, if you can find somebody who's going to love you anyway, and here's why that's important, because really, everyone deserves love. And that was the lesson she was trying to teach him. When she showed up at the Beast Castle door, the lesson was simple. Regardless of how I look, regardless of how you look, I deserve to be treated like a human being. That was the point. When he turned her away, he was saying, no, you don't. No, you don't deserve to be treated as human. No, you don't deserve a warm place out of a storm. No, you don't deserve just fresh drinking water. No, you don't deserve a roof over your head. No, you don't. You get what I'm saying? The judgment that he made on her based off of her looks because she was in crone energy. You understand? He was unhealed. He was unhealed. But that encounter put him on his healing journey. It put him, he, look, for many, how long? For how long would the beast tell you that woman ruined my life? If you went up to the beast, he'd be like, that heifer ruined my life. But if you talk to him after Bell, what would he say? Oh, that was hard, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. That's crone energy. Crone energy leaves you transformed. Crone energy leaves you dealing with the truth of something, like the way something really is, whether you want to see it that way or not, whether you want somebody else to see the truth or not. Crone energy is not interested in that. Crone energy is interested in things being what they are. This is what it is. This is what it ain't. Because here's the reality that the prince couldn't have known until later on. Obviously, the enchantress didn't really need a warm place to go. She's an enchantress. She could have conjured a warm place to go. But there was something about this prince. He was pretending to be something he wasn't. And that enchantress showing up at his door was a reckoning. Now, I hear you guys are asking, that's just why the staff, why Cogsworth and Lemmy? Well, because think about it. These are people who call themselves the right hand of this prince and they're loyal to their prince and they would do anything for their prince. Well, yeah, but they let him walk around like an asshole. They let that prince walk around like an asshole. And so they had to pay the price too. You see what I'm saying? Because what happened, I don't know if you gotta go back and watch it. After they all got enchanted, them house stat they started speaking up, didn't they? See what nobody's speaking up to the prince when he was a prince. They was letting him run amok, do whatever the hell he wanted to. But when he got their ass all cursed, him a beast and they household furniture, all of a sudden they talking back. Master, straighten up. This the one. She got to break the spell. Now they a team. Okay. Before the enchantress, oh, he's got so much power, no one can stop him. They weren't thinking that after that got turned into a goddamn wardrobe. See, the crone is just interested in things being what they really are. And a lot of times people want to sit out like they ain't got no power, they can't do nothing about something. I bet you can. When it's your butt on the line, I bet you can figure something out real quick, fast, in a hurry. Watch and see. Watch and see. So for my ladies, cultivate this crone energy. Like, don't be afraid of your crone energy. It's a part of you that doesn't let people in your business. It's a part of you that stands on business reliably. There's nothing demure about crone energy. I promise you, if you're a full grown woman, the crone energy, if you have your crone energy activate, that's the part of you that men don't like. It's independent. They can't control it. They're always trying to subdue it, talk you out of it. An unhealed man is naturally going to oppose your crone. A divine masculine will always recognize your crone as self-preservation and protection. A healed masculine will see your crone energy and recognize it as wisdom. I promise you. He'll go, oh, she's been through something. She already know. Okay. And a healed man, a divine masculine, will actually be relieved that you are a wise woman. Because the archetype for masculine, divine, and masculine and feminine is emperor, empress. Okay, so a real emperor does not want to be with a princess because he can't rule with a princess. An emperor cannot rule with a princess. He'll never be able to do anything for his kingdom because he'll constantly have to be taking care of her. Okay, so he won't ever get to expand his kingdom. Like nothing ever gets to grow because he has to take care of the princess. An emperor has to rule with an empress, somebody who has her own wisdom, her own resources, so that he can call shots for the realm and understand that she gonna back the play. She's not a distraction. She gonna back the play. He's not a distraction. He gonna back the play. That's why divine counterparts exist so that things can be created. There's nothing that's been created in this world that got created with just masculine energy. That's what they want y'all to believe, but that ain't true. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. I know I can still feel it. Somebody trying to figure it. It's not true. The feminine energy is needed. Listen, I'm not talking about who you sleep with in the bed. That's none of my business. Personally, I'm talking about how you manifest. And you have feminine and masculine energy inside of you, regardless of your gender. So for my ladies, embrace your crone. For my gentlemen, I want you to begin to question what makes you uncomfortable about crone energy. What makes you uncomfortable about women you feel like you can't control? What makes you uncomfortable when you get around a woman that you feel like you can only handle in small doses? That's where I want you to lean in. Don't ask her on a date. Don't do that to that woman. But be in that space of inquiry. God, why does this woman trigger me? Why does this woman trigger me? So my stepdad has an aversion to strong women, like aversion to strong women. So he's law enforcement, and as law enforcement for the past, I don't know, 30 something years, you know, especially out of Atlanta, Georgia, he has had to deal with high ranking female officers, let's just say, that he has to answer to. And you know, he's old school, plus he's a Sagittarius. So that tradition is real for that tradition real for him now. A black man in the South, old school cop. And so as he stayed on the force, as we say, over you know, as things have modernized, I've heard him like come back and be like, oh, we got this new captain. She this and she that, and she this and she that, and she thinks she this and that. And I'm like, girl, you ain't even da 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 da. And that's how he's talking at home, right? Like, girl this and girl that, and she this and she that. But here's what I can promise you, and I don't go to work with my stepdad. Obviously, I don't even live in the same state with me. But I promise you, when he get to work, he say, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I promise you, he stand at attention with his hands behind his back, and he looks straight ahead, and he nod his head and say, yes, ma'am, when she give orders, just like every other man in that place. Okay? Now, every other man in that place might go home like my stepdad and talk shit about her. They might. But here's what I'm gonna say. My stepdad got a whole problem with this captain so and so on the squad. But his religious stuff, and he's very religious, okay? When I tell you that man loves some Joyce Meyer, he loves some Joyce Meyer. Now, if y'all know Joyce Meyer, you know she's fierce. Now, I remember when I was a kid, my dad couldn't stand Joyce Meyer. My mom used to listen to Joyce Meyer, and he'd be like, I don't like her. She be doing this and this to women. Well, now who listens to Joyce Meyer now? Okay. So what's happened? One, he's matured. You know, it's been 30 something years. He's matured. And now he's gotten to a place where he can actually hear, uh, women leaders in some capacity, in some regard. I've watched him go from women can't be leaders anywhere to it's okay for Joyce Meyer to preach because she's married. And I asked him once, I was like, how come you're okay with Joyce? He's like, well, you know, she has a husband. I was like, oh, right, okay. Y'all, I wish I was kidding, but that's how I was raised. Um, But at work, uniform, guns, women answering to them, yeah, that's different. He ain't ready for all that. So if you are a divine masculine, you know that not only do you have an advantage, but please honor the advantage. For women, if you come across a masculine energy and they just cannot respect that you have any type of authority, spiritual or otherwise, they're not healed. That's just full stop. They're not healed. I don't care if it's negging, jealousy. I don't care how they express it. The moment they express it, believe it and walk away. Because an unhealed man will never see you for who you are. An unhealed man will never support your vision or your mission. They can't. They're not qualified. All right, y'all, that's enough for now. I'm going to leave this episode right here, okay? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Sacred and Profane Podcast. As always, I hope you got something, like some clarity, confirmation, something to think about, and just something to check for in yourself. The conversation today has nothing to do with your gender or your age. It is about parts of you that you've been hiding because society told you they were undesirable, and whether or not you have the courage to express it anyway when you need yourself the most. All right, y'all. Until next time, trust your path, your purpose, and your process. Peace.